Hello everyone, odedex here, welcome to episode 136 of my Sims Let's Play. So in case you don't know why my game is stuttering a little bit and also why my glass is looking like this, it means you missed the previous episode. I turned off Optifine because it was causing some problems with lag and game updates. Until now, I'm still not sure which thing, why was it causing it, but the moment I removed it, it kind of fixed itself. So for the time being, I'm playing without Optifine. Alright, so today, finally, hopefully, I'm gonna build my Ghast farm, my Ghast farm. But before starting that, I'd like to show you guys something. Since I've added my monazite into my processing system, basically macerating monazite, it kind of clogged the entire thing. Like the relay is constantly running. It's kind of this macerator is constantly clogged with something, and I'm not really happy about that. But the thing is, why I'm showing you this is because I'm using Planet Logistics, and the way I'm using it, I don't have to stop my red power quarry because all the in-between ores, such as iron ore and copper ore or whatever, can still be stored inside the actual Planet Logistics network. So this is kind of just a very small tangent to let you guys know and show you guys that this is one of the really convenient uses for Planet Logistics, because you can have a very huge load on your system while it still won't just die or something. Although the problem is that my MFSU has kind of a trouble keeping up because it was draining all of the inside buffer, and it's not so amusing, but yeah, eventually it will come back to normal. Okay, so today, hopefully going to finish my Galgadorian metal project by creating a Ghast farm. Now, originally I wanted to use golems as a part of the collection method in the Ghast farm, but since the previous episode I kind of changed my mind, so there will be some changes. Although, unlike the original farm, which I kind of tried to build everything ahead and know what's going on, those changes will be kind of made on the fly. So there may be some issues, but overall these should be kind of fine. Alright, so taking all my MFFS farm materials, and I'm going to build it in the same age as the rest of my farms, at least the rest of my Galgadorian metal related farms. So I got my spider farm right here and the other farm right there, and I've kind of, this looks really ugly and really silly, but I've placed those spot loaders in all the path between here, which is, there is a node right here somewhere, and here, so they kind of can recharge one another even when I'm not here. It kind of, I don't know, it may be the reason why everything is broken, but since I don't know, I don't really want to try. I did forget to bring some cobblestone, so let's get that, and we can get started. Okay, so also one thing I forgot to bring is actually the MFFS trap, or MFFS networks require industrial craft energy. So I think the best way for me to do this right now is to steal one of those HV solar arrays from here. And I may change that, but just to begin with, just to have a basic setup, I'm going to use the high voltage solar array. Hopefully I'm not going to lose it to the void. If I am, it's going to be very upsetting, but yeah. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm gonna build this, since I have my spider farm right here, my other farm right there, let's build this towards this direction, because this one has this entire silly Thermcraft nodes, silly business going on there. So let's build it right over here. Let's go outside a bit. And this should be enough. I think I actually forgot to craft something. Oh no, I got MFFS cards, okay. Okay, so this should be, let's go a little bit further. Okay, so let's build it right about here. I'm gonna create a small platform to work on, mostly because if I break something, I don't want things to be falling down. And okay, I just realized I did forget to bring something. Okay, so let's go ahead and quickly build it. What I'm going to need is the MFFS multi-tool. This is something I forgot to make, so I'm gonna actually go back to the overworld and make it. It's kind of a must. It's well, it's not a must, but it really helps. It's a tool such as the wrench or the whatever you want, or the screwdriver, basically for the MFFS, but it kind of changes. You can see I can look up the recipe of this tool, but I can look up the recipe of this one. However, they're pretty much the same thing, I think. Or actually, maybe the debugger not. Anyway, let's quickly craft it. So I'm going to need the wrench, a force energy crystal, a lever, advanced circuit, and some carbon plates. Carbon plates apparently are very useful in this mod. Really are being made a use of. So also force. Actually, no, I didn't make a recipe for this. So force crystal. I need some redstone as well. When I have some room issues. Okay, so I got all the materials that's created. So the MFFS multi-tool done. And I think to charge it up, it requires force energy. Now, I think I charge it up just inside one of the extractors, but you can see when I shift right click, it changes. It basically changes the function. It's kind of, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different modes. Some of them I know what they do, some of them I don't. But I'm gonna probably need it anyway, so let's just, good thing I made it, and let's collect back the thing that I need and get rid of the things that I don't need, and let's get back to building. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna need is the actual the management of the force thingy and the extraction of monazite or Forsicum. So let's have the capacitor. Again, the capacitor is kind of the brain of everything, so let's have the capacitor right here, and let's have the extractor right beside it. Now, even though they seems to be connected because they're placed next to each other, they're not. In order to connect an MFFS network, what you're gonna need are those blank cards. Now I made two because I'm going to need just one. You right click on a blank card on the capacitor. This gives you a power card link. Now you can see it tells you which world in it. Let's play season 2. It doesn't say actually what age. Just skip the save world. This is actually the Let's Play Season 2 is basically the name of my save file. This is the coordinates. Apparently, yeah, this is the coordinates, but it doesn't mention that this is age 73, I think. Whoops, I just installed it back in it. I don't need it here. Anyway, this is basically a link card that when connected to here, it will tell that this is connected to this one. So they are now connected. And now let's turn both of them on. So I'm gonna change them to be, you can either connect them, you can either turn them on using redstone signaling or turn them on using this power on function. Or you know what, actually I may need a redstone signaling to begin with in order to charge up my control, my MFFS thingy here, the multi-tool. Let's get the, let's get the lever. Let's first start by turning them on using redstone signaling. I may have no choice pretty much. Okay, so let's have this here and this here. So whoops. So let's turn them back to being controlled by redstone. So let's turn this one on. You can see it turned green, and this one on, although I don't think it makes any difference. I don't know, it might not make any difference. Anyway, you can now see that it has a linked device of 1 and a transmit range of 8, meaning up to 8 blocks away you can connect a block. So the fact that I placed them nearby is not a must, although I'm not keeping them close by. But this is why I brought the capacitor upgrade for range. So 7 of them, if I place them right here, you'll be able to see that now I've grown to 64 transmit range. Meaning that up to 64 blocks away from here I can place whatever I want and it will still be connected. So again, as I've said when I created those, it might be kind of an overkill, I might not need it, but there is no harm in placing it right there. And now let's increase the storage capacity. So as you can see, they can both hold force energy. I'm gonna get to that later, but that force energy can be stored both in the extractor itself and also in the capacitor. So applying this basically gives me a much larger buffer. And the rest of those upgrades will be applied to the actual trap itself. So let's move it aside. Now let's start dealing with the actual Forsicum extraction method. Now, the way Forsicum is being extracted, you basically take monazite, not monazite, you basically take Forsicum, and with the help of some industrial craft energy, and this is why I brought an HV solar array, because I'm not sure how much does it actually require. And actually, you know what, I'm going to apply also those extractor boosters upgrades, which I forgot to place. Those basically makes everything being extracted faster. So basically you take the Forsicum, place it right here, and you can see it took the first Forsicum and placed it right here in its spot, basically saying that now there is some Forsicum being extracted, but nothing will happen until you apply some sort of industrial craft energy. So let's actually get an MFFS, sorry, an MFFS, let's get an MFSU, and that will actually help me determine whether or not this HV solar array is needed. And you know what, I'm gonna quickly craft one because it seems like I don't have one available. I'm gonna quickly craft one off screen and I'll be right back. Okay, so I got my MFSU, and again, I crafted it just because I'm not exactly sure, this is something that I've not tested, on how much energy exactly does the extractor consume. So this is something, again, quickly crafted. Let's see how it works. So let's place it right here, and let's place the high voltage solar right here. So now the energy is collected, and you can see there is some excess, although not by much actually. It does consume a lot. So I'm gonna keep it like this for the time being, and you can see it kind of consumes. This is basically the progress bar for the current process. You can see it goes through. It clears the first one, it then consumes another one, it keeps going, and all the energy is being stored right here. This is the force energy. Now quickly I want to try and charge this thing up. Not exactly sure how you do this. Oh, apparently you just connect it here, I guess. Oh, that seemed to work. Oh, you can decide whether or not you want... Oh, okay. Whether do I want to charge stuff or discharge them, because I can also apparently... Oh, I guess you can use the force crystals as batteries. So this is nice. I guess, yeah, I guess you can place it right here and you want to, although this seems to be like, used to be something else. I don't know. Anyway, got this thing powered, so this is awesome. However, you guys know me, and since I like everything fully automated, you can already see there is a problem here. Obviously, I'm not going to manually resupply it with Forsicum all the time. So let's change that. And for that, I'm going to need some tesseracts. So let's do that. Let's get some tesseracts in here. I'm going to need the item tesseracts. Now I did get some of those, some of that liquid ender pearl ready. So let's get, I'm going to need a tesseract. I'm going to need the item tesseract, as I've said. I'm going to just create 4 of them, because I've got enough materials to create 4, so let's go ahead and do that. So hardened glass, tin, and diamonds. I think I'm going to go ahead and create it off screen. Yeah, let me quickly create those tesseracts and I'll be right back. Okay, so I got my item tesseracts, I got 4, I just need 2 for the time being, just to keep this network running. So let's store the other 2, and I can use them when I need them. And I'm also going to need the relay. So let's get 1. And I'm also going to need an export bus. So let's get this relay crafted. And what's taking so long? What's the problem crafting a buffer? What's going on? Why is this going crazy? Okay, let's craft another relay. Oh, I never added buffer to the auto crafting system. Okay, this is interesting. When did I forget? I guess I just had a lot of those spare buffers, so I just forgot doing that. Okay, let's get some iron bars and let's get some wood and get this crafted, I guess. Kind of silly, but mistakes happen. So let's get 10 of those and say that this, and this, or probably got this wrong. Yep, of course I did. This gives me a buffer, and encode that and add that. Okay, and now hopefully, yep, there we go. So I've got my relay, and I'm also going to need an export bus. So let's get an export bus, and also I'm going to need some of that Forsicum. So let's place it right here in my kind of hidden place. And let's connect it like this. So this area is kind of clear. Let's use it right there. So I'm gonna have my relay right here facing, I'm gonna place it facing up. Okay, this seems to be facing up. And it will be facing this item tesseract network. So I'm gonna create a new network. I'm gonna call it Forsicum. Let's place it on frequency 3 and call it Forsicum. Add that. And that will be sending only. That relay will be directly connected to it, and an export bus will always try to push some Forsicum into it. So at all times it will try to push a Forsicum. Let's keep it not a stack, but one at a time. And the inner buffer of everything here, both the relay and the item tesseract, will make sure that once this is full, it won't try to push anything anymore. And obviously right now the item tesseract has nowhere to send the items, so it's already filling up the inner buffer. But if I go back to my trap age right now, my ender farm, should rename that age kind of, it's not an ender farm, it's more than that. And if I place my item tesseract right here, as you can see right now I have 58 Forsicum. If I place it right here and connect it to the Forsicum network, of course receive only, it will start feeding it Forsicum. And that way, I'm pretty much just taking care of the supplying of Forsicum. So that will always be filled up with Forsicum. It will always have power because this age is permanent daylight, and it will also have a slight excess of what it actually needs, but that way it actually makes sure that this is always filled up. And this is pretty much all the base of everything set up. Now for the actual trap itself. Okay, so I'm gonna have it not too far away from here. I'm gonna have it kind of separated because it's kind of inherently different, the trap itself, from the actual extraction mechanism and everything else. Let's have it kind of a little bit separated. And I'm gonna have it right here. So I'm going to need the MFFS projector to be facing, I think, this way. No, I need it rotated. So let's take our multi-tool, shift right click to change it to the wrench mode, and I'm going to, okay, I want it to be looking like, nope, not here, like this, no, this, no. Okay, I guess I kind of don't have a choice. Although probably gonna need to change some things. Okay, yeah, this is the thing about the MFFS thingy, the MFFS mod, which I've said some episodes ago that is kind of unintuitive, but then I changed my mind. You need to get used to it. It's kind of different than what you might get used to. Okay, so as you can see, this is the projector block. The projector block, this is what determines where your force and everything will be. Now the first thing, okay, let's just place it right here and we'll see if that will cause problems. Or you know what, let's just get rid of it quickly and just replace it to be right here. Let's use some of those blocks. And let's place it right about here. I need some more cobblestone and rotate it to be facing like this. Okay, so the force projector, this creates your force field. Now it has many different connections here. Let's have the first thing actually connected to the to my capacitor. So right click with the other blank card that I had and connect it right here. This is now installed. You can see that it's connected to the force energy pool. It actually has access to it, obviously. And now there are main different things here. So first I'm going to set it up to be working on redstone. And I'm going to set it up to be, the projector module will be advanced cube. Now the moment you see I'm adding this advanced cube, you can see those slots open. Now, those slots determine on how exactly the trap will look like, on how exactly the shape of the trap will look like. Now, every module has a different things opening here. Specifically, the advanced cube has those slots open, those 4 and this one. Now, each one of them has a different purpose, but for what I'm going to need, I'm going to need this one, this one, and this last one. So in the top 3 slots, I'm going to be placing, okay, now at first, let's turn it on without anything. You can see what it looks like. So if I play redstone signal, it kind of looks like this. It kind of has no real meaning to it. Kind of, you have this force field block, which has no difference. But let's start adding things to it. So let's start, say that let's add 5 of those focus matrix to the top. And when I do that, basically the top meaning go forward. Now you can see by the dot shape, this is where this is the dot that is kind of relying upon. This basically says go forward. So from here going forward, this now has a strength of 5. So 1, 2, 3, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, there is 6. Oh yeah, it adds 5 to the current strength because this one also had 1 block. Now you've seen just now that when you hit it, you get damaged. And even if I'm wearing my graviton suit, it doesn't make any difference. So I'm going to be a little bit careful here. But that's that. So let's turn it off. Also, by the way, when you change things when the force field is on, it won't do anything. You can see now I'm adding 5 here. It won't update until I actually turn it off and on again. But when I do that, you can now see that it now created a small cube going also to the side, 5 to the side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can now start seeing how that takes shape. Now, how do I increase the height? Well, that's this block. So let's apply the 5 strength field modulator upgrades, turn it off and on, and now it's a lot higher. So this is pretty much the basic gist of how the advanced cube model works. Now, let's actually place it in the fashion that I wanted to place it, which be, I want the trap facing this way. So I'm actually going to be placing 10 here and 5 more here, turn it on and off, and now it looks like the trap area that I was planning on. Yeah, this is pretty much how it should look like when I designed it. Okay, so that's that. Now you can clearly see a couple of properties regarding the MFFS force fields. First, when you have a block, it will not be replaced by a force field block, like it won't change to a force field block, but once you break it, it does kind of change to that force field block. And if you try placing something on top of it, say a lever, it doesn't work, but obviously you can place block into it. Now let's actually try to collect this block. No. Okay, let's go ahead and get some more cobblestone. I'm going to some more cobblestone anyway. Okay, so I got a little bit more cobblestone. Now, what I wanted to show you guys is you can actually, you can place blocks on it, but it will not replace them once if they're already here. Like this block right there is indeed cobblestone. It's not a force field. And that's an important feature for what I'm going to need, because I am going to use the same method that I used with my ender farm, which is using water onto a transposer for the collection method. So also probably going to need to change the dimensions of everything here. Actually, this is again something that I haven't tested. I'm kind of doing it on the fly. Originally, I did plan to use a golem, but when you use a golem, well, it kind of, I just don't want to use a golem. To keep it simple as that. Okay, I just died. Okay. Did I lose my graviton suit? Please tell me I didn't lose my graviton suit. I lost my graviton suit. That was unintentional. Okay, lesson for life. Don't stand in here while you're turning on your thingy. Ooh, okay, that's kind of bad. I kinda... Yeah, I'm going to create my new graviton suit all over again. Oops. Okay. For you guys, I'm gonna see you guys in just a minute. For me, it's gonna take a little bit of a while. So I'm gonna quickly recraft the rest of my graviton suit armor. Lesson learned. Don't stand within force field when you turn it on. Let me go ahead and create that basically recraft everything that I just lost, and I'll be right back. Okay, so still not finished with the graviton suit. I just completed my quantum suit, and now I'm in the process of upgrading my quantum into my graviton suit. Used up all the excess UU matter that I had here, and I tapped directly into my UU farm in my HV solar array age, and I'm crafting iridium right here. I'm not gonna bother you guys with the actual process of crafting it because I think it's really well, I've just done it already. It's really long. The thing is though, it's actually a lot more convenient now to craft it because I can tap directly into most things. Like I just took a bunch of MV transformers from my HV solar array to craft the Tesla coils, and I can tap directly to my plant logistics to get some those coolant cells and so on. So the process is faster. Yeah, I won't lie. It's definitely faster. It's not as boring as it used to be, but you guys have seen it already, so yeah. Okay, so just completed my graviton chest plate. Quite a long and boring process. However, I did incorporate a lot of recipes into my plant logistics network, and it did make things a lot easier. Actually, you can see I've added the 30k coolant cell, the 60k coolant cell, bronze ingots, mixed metal ingots, and also refined iron. I've added it to the furnaces, encoded assembly pattern for the reactor plating, heat capacity reactor, heat exchanger, glass fiber cables, and advanced heat exchangers. And I've also added some recipes here, for example, the advanced alloy, the dense copper plating, and right here I've added refined iron. So I did use plant logistics quite a lot, and it did saves me a lot of time, a lot of crafting, unstackable recipes, and so on and so on. So it did make things a lot easier. So I can fly again, and now let's actually restore the rest of my inventory. Now, I lost some things which actually I didn't really like losing, such as my pickaxe, so I created a new one with some other enchants. And I lost things like my laser gun and some wands and my axe actually lost, and I actually also lost my soul shard Ghast, so my soul shard with the Ghast souls. So I'm gonna restore some of them, but not all of them. I'm gonna restore whatever I need right now, and the rest of the things which I've lost I'm gonna just restore at some other point when I'm gonna need them, if I'm going to need them. Okay, so for the Ghast soul shard, I actually went ahead and got myself a new soul shard with one Ghast kill. I just went ahead and killed one. And the good thing, I did have a skeleton soul shard with tier 5 just lying around doing nothing. So I can do the same thing I did originally, which is combine this full soul shard with the empty one to receive a Ghast tier 5 soul shard. So that's fixed, and pretty much I just retrieved everything back, all my loot back. I still am missing a couple of things, such as my Thauminomicon and some other things, but overall I think I've got everything that I needed in order to at least complete this project. So that's good enough. So let's go ahead and do that, or at least try and continue until I realize I am missing something. For that, I'm actually gonna take my Emperor's Chalice. I'm gonna get a lot more cobblestone and start realizing how exactly I want to set up the trap, because then again, as I've said before, my original design used a golem, and I don't want to use a golem. So the first thing I'm going to do right now is create some sort of security measure that wouldn't let me operate the lever unless I'm right here. Like, so I want, even if I want to by accident, I can't come here and do this. Okay, so it kind of feels silly, but I cannot do this even by accident. So that's that small safe mechanism. And now let's try and figure out the right measurements of where I want to actually place the water sources, so they will all get to the center. I think actually this is the right position. Let's actually make a small test, and I'm also going to make sure that indeed the water updates as I would expect it to update when I turn the force field on and off, although there shouldn't be any real reason to turn it on and off. It should be permanently on in theory. So let's check that out. So this here, and this is a corner, and this should be a corner as well. So again, let's just make sure. So those are the corners of the trap, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if I place water sources in those 4 corners, one here, one here, one here, and one here. Right now it doesn't seem like too much, but when I turn the force field on, they all center to the same point. This is exactly what I wanted. Okay, this is perfect. And now I can replace the center force field block with a transposer. Now the thing is, okay, when this is turned off, this kind of looks silly, but this, okay, it will retain its original shape when turn it back on again. This is where it matters. I don't care how it looks when it turned off, I care how it looks when it turned on. So that's fine. Let's get a transposer and a white ender chest. So it will be again a collection point, or actually, you know what, let's use an item tesseract directly. Yep, I'm gonna have to be forced to use it actually. So I'm gonna need, let's see, I'm gonna need the relay, I'm gonna need an item tesseract, shoot them the remaining here, and I'm going to need a transposer, and that should pretty much help me set it up. Okay, so just looked at the episode length. Because there is still quite a little bit of some things to do, like it won't be like 2 more steps or something. I'm gonna wait a little bit, and I'm gonna have to continue this. I'm gonna complete this, basically complete the project in the next episode. So I had a little bit of trouble with the force fields. Never stand inside them when they're turned on. Remember, they're very high voltage force fields, very dangerous. Don't mess around with them. But at least I'm happy to see that. Oh, actually, I took away the HV solar array. We should bring it back. You can see that I'm storing a very nice amount of force field. It does consume a little bit when it's turned on. You can see that it's fluctuating, and actually when it will be killing ghasts, it will consume even more. But you can see that I'm very much able to sustain it in terms of creating the force field basically. When I'm going to bring it back with the HV solar array, it's going to have a lot of energy available. The Forsicum is essentially endless, and yeah, there is no problem there. Alright, so as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.